Go.
Hello, this is Daryl at 10-Foot Truck Good Attitude Services. Today I wanted to show you some simple things, but it's when I'm on moving jobs a lot of times, or removal jobs. I have to disconnect the dryer, washer and dryer to move them, and I just want to show you the tools that I use. Main tools, I use these vice grips. You can use probably pliers. These work really good to remove the hoses. And then of course I use a tape measure for doorways to measure the item. And flashlight, because a lot of times it's dark behind these in here, so you want a flashlight. Gloves, you don't want to get cut. These things have sharp edges. And duct tape for taping the hoses and stuff if I have to put them on while I'm moving them. Now the first step would be to shut off the water. Each one of these has a different setup. Some have valves. These just shuts it off with this knob here. I want to make sure the water's off. And then another thing you want to do too, so you don't put water over the customer's floor, is have some towels or also a bucket, because there's residue water in here from so you want to make sure when you take these off, you put them in a bucket so that it doesn't leak. So make sure they're off like that. Now sometimes you have to use sliders. I'll show you that later, because I'm gonna have to use sliders. Those ones I showed you in another video, furniture sliders, to get these out, because that was pretty heavy. My dolly's in the truck right now, so let's start with the dryer. Tools off here, and these are electric, so gas is different. I'm just showing you with electric. See, this is easy to pull out because the dryers are lighter. You can see the cord back here, and you have this. This requires, usually they require a flathead screwdriver. And remove this little, you just have to loosen it. And now that's the first thing you want to do, is take the plug off first before we start messing around. See the plug back here? Some of those have different prongs depending on what year. See these are 4 prongs. That's what they have now. It has a, for the ground. So some of them have 3, but now the updated ones are like that, 4 prongs. Very simple. But now it's unplugged. Take that, loosen that. That pops off. Same on that side. I usually, what I do with these, once I pop these dryer vents hoses, I put them inside in here so that I don't lose them. But I'm not going to do that right now. I want to get this out of the way. Now, see these cords? They can be, I don't want to disconnect the cord. So a lot of times, I'll just tape them on here. Make sure you don't scratch the dryer with this. Okay. Get that. Nice duct tape, like Gorilla Tape. This Gorilla Tape is really good. You just hold it out of the way so it's not flopping around. And then I'll grab it from this side. Beware of scratching the floor. I'm just doing this because it's vinyl floor and it has plastic feet on it, but a lot of times you want to be careful with that. And let me get the sliders. Hold on for a minute. I'll be back. These are important to have right here. I showed these in the last video. These are super sliders. They're a different brand, but they're great for moving things around like this and not scratching the floor. So I'll just get back one side like that, put it in. Get back the other side. Listen it right out of the feet. Now it moves a little bit better too. And then what I'll do is I'll get the other side as the same. Just move this out of the way for now. Just a lot of dust back here. Probably gonna have to clean. Now this, totally different thing, much heavier than the dryer. You gotta really watch the floor on these. Plug right here for electric. Unplug. See this hose right here that goes down into the vent? That just comes right out like that. Be careful you don't break anything when you're doing this. It goes down there. That needs to be removed. This is something I'll probably tape right here. And when I get it done, there's a little water sometimes in these. And these are the ones that have water, so we'll need to get a bucket. Let me get a bucket ready. And you need, I'm gonna have to have a hose bucket. These work really good. So, try to get this out a little more. So, I use these vice grips. You can use fry pliers, because you just have to carefully. You don't want to. You see how it's still water coming down because it was just used. Just be careful with these. You don't want to break them. These are plastic little things here. Now, let's see if there's any water coming out of these. Probably. I'll put it right in the bucket. So let me have the bucket really close here. I'll hold them down like this. And I'll hold them up like that so that they don't leak like that before I get the bucket ready. Put the bucket right there. Right below. See, now it goes into the bucket, see? There, let it drain. And then what I do is since I'm going to move them, I'm going to move these the same way. Just lightly take it, they're usually not on too tight because you don't want to tighten too much. Same thing. Hopefully no water comes out of this one. And then I'll just put it inside the bucket. So it goes in the bucket. You know, there's no water. I learned that the hard way, not having a bucket or towels, and got the customer's floor wet and they were upset. So you don't want to do that. So there, that goes in there. And of course, let me get the plug out of the way. Now the plug, I can just same thing with the plug. Get the duct tape. That's what I do. Just get a duct tape on it so it's out of the way, not flapping around, and you don't want to break a plug. So I have that with me. Now, let me move this up ahead here. I'm gonna get the sliders on here. Since I have the other appliances on the appliance dolly, in my next video I'll show you about the appliance dolly. But right now I have I'm gonna have to use these. So if you don't have appliance dolly on hand and you're needing to move these around, this is probably the cheapest way to go to getting these. You don't scratch your floors. Okay, that one. There now. Those are probably those sliders are a little worn out, so they're not. You want to get some updated ones. Sometimes they get worn out. They skid a little bit. You get the idea. I'm gonna have to get my other slider because these are. Okay. Oops! Don't do that. That's no shit. You don't want to do that. Watch the hallways. So okay, get it out here, ready? And that's it for that. I'll do the other one on my own. I just wanted to show you that simple trick. In the next video, I'll show you about the appliance dolly and bringing them in the house. Thank you.
Go.
Hi, this is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck Good Attitude Services. I'm going to show you how I take a washer and a dryer. I'll just start with a washer out of the truck and into the house, going upstairs. First step, you want an appliance dolly, the one that has the straps. That's recommended because it will hold the appliance, any heavy items. So this is the buckle, and here's the strap. What I do is I take the strap, go around the washer, make sure, see this right here, make sure it stays the same. Go around. And see, I have the hose duct taped here. You can remove the hose from this little clip here. The only reason I didn't remove it because when I was taking it out, water was pouring out, so I left it. I just taped it to the. And you don't want to put the strap over the hoses or over a cord. Make sure you go under because it will compress that. So under the hose, under the cord. And then this has to be flat because it's going to crank in like that. You want it flat like this, and you want this piece up on that edge like that. Make sure it's all straight. There's the buckle. It goes underneath the buckle, like that. And then this piece here, it goes into the buckle like that, and this will hold it secure strap. Now you want to make sure you pull it so it's tight. Get some tension on it. Make sure it's up like that. And then give it a little bit of tension. Make sure it's untested. See the clip here? This handle. You want to get enough tension, but not too much. That's good to hold it so it doesn't come flying off. And then you want to tuck the extra piece out of the way. I just kind of flap it like that so it doesn't get in the way. That's not funny. Get another like that. There, so it's out of the way. And then grab it. I grab it up here where it feels secure. And what I have to do, since I don't have a ramp, I had to put blankets here to cover the bumper so it doesn't get scratched, or it just makes it easier and more, you know, just a little bit less problematic, because I have there's a hitch on there and that would scratch. Well, it probably wouldn't scratch it, but it makes it harder. So then I'm just going to lean it back and look, see these here? This is the importance of a refrigerator dolly or appliance dolly, is that these roll on the stairs. Makes it easier to climb down. And you have these which slide down. Okay, here we go. Now I always have gloves. It makes it better to, at least for me, I get a better grip with these rubber gloves. I get a good grip on these appliances. And the washer can be really heavy. The dryers are a lot lighter, but see, tilt it back like that. See how it'll glide over the top. And this is where you want to be very careful. Make sure you got a good grip, because as it falls, you want to have it where you're pulling back on it. It doesn't drop. It goes off the track. If you're real, you can see the blankets off the slide. Now I'm going to go up the stairs. Well, since this is up against this here, see if I can make it. We're gonna spin. Hey, very good. See, there's enough room. Hitting that? Nope.
Got 3. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
Get it lined up.
This is a miracle. It's gonna fit. Sweet.
Okay, follow me.
Sorry.
Okay, now we're going to take it to the laundry room. Make sure the wheels are clean. You don't want to dirty floors. And I always keep my wheels clean on that. And then measure the hallways and measure these doors, because you have to make sure it fits right in here. See, these fit perfectly back here. Real, barely actually. And mine have to. This is where it's gonna get tricky. Right here. See if I can slide it. Now normally I wouldn't slide it on hardwood floors. I'd make sure I have these sliders underneath. So maybe we could put those on. Actually, don't worry about it because these have this vinyl floor is not going to problem. Just be real careful with doorways like that. Just real careful. Just make sure you're not scratching the floor. And it's better to be on the wheels like that. Get all the way back. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take to remove this. You go like this. Pop it off. That loosens up the strap. And this here, just you have to push it in to get it released. Sometimes you have to use a screwdriver to get it in there. There it goes. Kind of pull like that. It's actually the hardest part of the thing. Hold on, let me get a screwdriver. In this case, if I would have had my tool bag close by, which I should have. I don't have a tool belt, but that's also a good idea. But a tool bag, make sure all the tools you need for the installation or whatever job you're doing, assembly or disassembly, is with you close by. Because in this case, I had to go back to the truck to get a flathead screwdriver, which I use a lot of times when these buckles is too tight. I'll use a flathead to unloosen it. And I should have had nearby. It's just waste time, and the job takes longer. So for efficiency, make sure you have your tools close by on these type of jobs. This is Daryl, 10-foot truck, Good Attitude Services. Thank you for watching this video. Since it's a long video, but this is what I'm coming across. thank you for Not watching. all these buckles are like this. Sometimes it gets really tense like that. I have to kind of loosen it up with a screwdriver. So if you ever run into that, flathead screwdriver. Now, just pull it out like that. There we go. Take that off, wrap that around. And the dolly has been done its job. Now, dolly. There. Now it's got to go back in there. Now this always has to go to that vent. So here we go. Yeah, we're gonna get I'm gonna get some sliders. Let's call it a day for this. I'll do another video on how I put it in there, install it. But I'm gonna get this stuff ready, get this on a slider so it'll scratch the floor, and then get it in there, and I'll show you that. This is Daryl, Good Attitude Services. Signing out. Hi, this is Daryl at 10-foot truck, Good Attitude Services. This is another part of the series I'm doing with washers and dryers, since we deal with these as movers and as junk removalists. This is a dryer, it's much lighter than the one that than the washer. And it's the same process. You want to have your appliance dolly, and you always want to, when you're transporting an appliance like this, a washer or dryer, you always want the appliance dolly. I think I'm gonna have to redo this. I taped the cord so it doesn't pop around, and this is, I use Gorilla tape. It's probably not a good idea because it gets stuck on there, but it's all I got right now. You could probably get a different type of tape, like a moving tape that won't do that, but it's not really, it's just gonna, you just have to scrape it off. I wouldn't recommend that, but get mover's tape. But so you want to put the appliance up against the side of the appliance, the washer dryer. You don't want to do the back. Just look at the back. That will damage this piece here if you put it on the back. And the front, if you put it on the front, it'll scratch your surface and it might damage this part. Let's see how that's like that. So you always want the side. So what I do is I just put it flush against here. Like that. You see these plastic protectors, they protect you from getting scratched. Make sure those are like that. And it's flush. And then you use the strap. On these appliance dollies, you'll have a kind of a strap and a buckle. You take the one long end and you want it on the outside like that. Here's an important thing: you never want to put on top of cords. Always underneath the cords or hoses. Never on top. Around. Sometimes if there's handles, you kind of want to avoid those. This handle's fine. Be careful on that. And then the buckle. When you're applying the buckle, make sure this is straight the whole time. Put it to the bottom, to the bottom, underneath the two rollers, like that. underneath the rollers, and then straight. Make sure that the strap's straight, and go through the middle of the rollers. That. And then that's where you get your tension. Just hold it once it's. You want to get it towards. Check this part. Make sure it's all straight. Yeah, that side over there. See, this is not straight, so there's a problem right here. So you see this? This is where it becomes a problem. So I have to redo it. I have to straighten it. It has to be flat. So I actually put it on wrong. So you always want to pay attention to that stuff. And it's not it's things that just details that you have to deal with that even I forget. So make sure it's straight, flat like that. There you go. It's flat. Now it's flat. Now that's flat. You want to make sure that's the right way. That's the right way, like that. Same procedure. Bottom through the middle of the rollers. This should. And there we go. Let me tighten it up. Make sure it's up the top too. And the buckle here, what you want to do, because it's glass, you get it all ready to go. See, and it does have a protector on there, so you make sure that protector, this side is on there. You don't want the buckle directly on the glass. Then, when it's ready, see, I had it on the, that was right as loose, and then that will tighten it. So I have to make sure it's got enough tension. A little bit more. There. Yep. Now I see what happens. See, this is interesting. This part here is, you got to make sure it's there. There. Now it should work. There. Now it's tight. And you got the loose tail here. You don't want that flapping around, so just kind of strap it in between. Like that. Now we're going on down. Lean it back and make sure you have it all set up straight. Lean it back, test the weight. I always wear gloves. It gives me better grip when I'm going down the stairs and up the stairs. We're going down this truck doesn't have a ramp, so as you can see down there, I have blankets set up on the bumper so there's no damage on the bumper if you have moving pads. We're going down. See how the rollers, just go real slow when you're going in here. Because you want to make sure you got enough good grip. You take it real slow and just let it on the rollers there. See? Slides on the rollers. One step at a time. Right on the rollers like that. Super easy. And watch your step when you're using these blankets. Make sure I'll get distance on here. When you're bringing it into a home with hallways, make sure you measure the hallways and you measure the washer or dryer, so you know if it's going to fit down the hallway. And we already measured this one, so it's good. And watch the walls. You don't want to scratch anything or damage anything. Here's the tricky part, so I have to bring it down. because it's a corner. Try not to scratch the floors. What I do is I usually put it on sliders. This is the vinyl floor, it should be fine. And watch, you know, edges like that. You see it barely fits. See the edge right here? It's just barely fits because of the way that's set up. So you can always put a blanket on top so it doesn't scratch. And then bring it around. What I'm gonna do now is take the dolly out, unlatch it, and on these buckles, they're kind of tricky sometimes. What I do is I just use a flathead to loosen it up. Yeah. And then you release that buckle all the way out. And we'll take the dolly off. Here. Okay. Now we have to make sure there's enough room. Let me put this over here. This is a really small hallway, so sometimes you run into this where it's real small. Yesterday I had a problem like this too, where I used sliders. And now this is the tricky part. Since we have the washer here, we haven't plugged in the washer. And the reason why is because this has a cold hose that goes to the dryer for a steamer, and so it has a splicer. So we didn't want to plug it in, and we want to make sure that we connect the dryer to that first. Also, another thing here, this is important. The dryer has a venting tube. See these little flexible venting tubes? Make sure they have these rings, like these tightener rings. Now, this takes a flathead screwdriver that when you put it on here, you put the vent, make sure it's all the way around this vent tube. Now it may not fit, so we might have to, this may be a different size tube. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that's a different tube. So we'll have to get another tube for that. This is a different, no. Okay, let me see. I think we have another tube that fits that. Where's the other tube?
In the garbage.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm gonna get another tube for that, so I'll have to start back with that when we get the tube, because I want to show you how you install the tube. I'll show you where's. Anyway, it's Daryl, 10-Foot Truck, Good Attitude Services. I'll have to redo this video. Hi, this is Daryl at 10-Foot Truck, Good Attitude Services. This is part 2. First part was getting it out of the truck. Second part is I'm going to install this with the hoses. So you have to make sure that you get the right hoses. The left is hot on here, the right is cold. And these are the two spouts that go to one. And then you look on your washer. See how it says H and C, so cold and hot. And you want to make sure that it has these washers in here so it don't leak. They're like rubber washers. So this one has a splicer because one of the cold goes to the dryer for the steam. So that's why it's a splicer. So in this case, I'm going to connect the hot one, hot on the left. And then the cold on the left, on the right. Get over there. Now you don't want to do it too tight. Let me just do one notch. You don't want to tie them too tight, just enough, just a little bit, just to make them fall off. That's really good right there, and there. And then let's see that splicer here. That's where you got to figure out the size. It depends on the washer. This one, it was the short one. Hooked up in here. Because the thing is, since it has a splicer, you have to put, both have to have cold. So one's going to be the dryer. This will be the dryer. the dryer, and then the long one. I mean, that's going to the dryer, and this is going to. So this is going. The long one's going to the dryer. You get confused. I've never done this before, so we're learning as we go. So this is a cold. So C, cold. I can do it with this. I can do it by hand. Okay. And now the hot goes to the side, which is interesting because it crisscross, but that's the way it works. And make sure you got the threads on there. See, they put some stuff on here that helps for the. Wait. Yeah. That's on. Okay. Now, when you're moving these, I don't want to scratch the floor, so I'm putting these sliders on, furniture sliders. Slide it that way. First, I'll pull those off. I don't want to get it. See how it's going to fit in here. The other thing you have to worry about is this hose. It goes into the pipe. This is important. And make sure it's close enough. It's going to have to go in there. So let me get that all the way up here. See how it looks. Let's try that. This is going to be interesting because this one's kind of short. There, good. Okay, a little closer. There, see, it fits right in there. You see these bends a little bit? That's just so it doesn't hit the spout. So let me see over here. And you got your plug for the electricity. I always plug that in last, so I'll make sure everything's together. Okay. So we'll get the dryer. Let's get the dryer in, and then we'll show you how they both work. This is Daryl at 10-Foot Truck Good Attitude Services signing out. Hello, this is Daryl at 10-Foot Truck Good Attitude Services, and we're continuing on here with this dryer. I had to get the other hose or the other vent that goes to out this venter tube right here. And this seems to work really good. Either this or a flathead screwdriver. So see how you tighten. There's a little clip on here. I mean, a little screw on here. So you have these rings that go around, and that hold it. You can use this. I can just use this little thing to go around it. Now, if you don't have one of these, you use a flathead screwdriver, or this seems to work the best. And just get it so it's done. Tighten down. It doesn't go anywhere. Test it out. It's a very tight space, so these are hard sometimes to get in there. Okay. Alright. That's tight. And then the same thing applies to the back of the dryer. This little tube, these go around it. Sometimes they're hard to get on. Looks like they're too small. And once you get that on there, same thing applies. Either a flathead or one of these wrenches I found. And of course this wrench may not work because they're barely gonna fit in there. Maybe this should go. I got an idea. Let's put that away. This doesn't leave a lot of space in here for tightening. So it's really kind of a challenge. Might have to use a screwdriver over there. And sometimes you have to use a flathead because even this one I might need a smaller flathead. That's kind of, I might have to use a smaller flathead for this, shorter. Work, he's got to be real patient with it. Okay, let's see. That should be about tight there. Not going anywhere. Then what we have to do is hook up this. Remember I was talking about the cold hose? It has a splicer. This has a steamer, so the cold hose, the cold water goes in here. So we'll have this hose. Turn it back a little bit. See, this hose goes right here in the back, and that's the cold hose. And let's see, make sure it's on there. It's a leak, so I want to make sure there's a washer in there. You always want to make sure there's a rubber washer in there that doesn't leak. And that goes in there. Let me get my vice grips. Use vice grips. Get around here. Tighten it back. You don't want to tighten too much, but just enough so it doesn't leak. And then we're going to test it out because I'm not going to move it back until I see that it actually works on this hose here. Good there. Now I'm going to plug it in. This is a new plug to have. On most of the new houses, they have the 4 prongs, and the old houses have the 3. And so make sure, because I've had problems with that before, where I brought a washer into a customer's house, and they had a updated 4 prong with an old 3 pronger. You want to make sure you got the right one, and that plugs in as so. That flat. Make sure it's in there. Now we're just gonna test it out. I don't want to push it back yet. Let's see, I don't know if this here. Try to get away. So let's turn it on. Not to plug the washer in too. I wanted to wait for that hose to be installed. Now I'm gonna turn the water on and make sure it's not leaking.
Is the machine turned on?
Let's turn it on there. Okay, now the power that's plugged in. There's the power. Wait. Okay. Power. Okay, so just gonna test the dryer. Now check the hose. Did it blow off?
No.
So the hose is going out. The electricity is working, and that's not leaking. Check that. See if that's leaking.
No.
So that one's working, and I'm going to test the washer and put it on normal. Let's see, we're normal. Just want to make sure it's not leaking. Okay. Anyway, this is Daryl, 10-foot truck, Good Attitude Services. That's kind of how I plug those in, and sometimes they're a little bit different, but that's it for this